back to senior year. While other simps are still showering the school's green tea beauty with attention and care, I, however, have set my sights on the aloof senior who has nothing to do with me. It's not because she has a slender waist and long legs and likes to wear black stockings. It's just that in my past life, I couldn't tell the difference between the green tea beauty and the hidden gem senior. Initially, I was hit by a car while buying milk for Lucha. I've been paralyzed in bed for 3 years. Then, my classmates visited me once. She never appeared again. Instead, it was as if Luo Yinran, the aloof senior I had seemingly no connection with, one day, with red-rimmed eyes, appeared in my hospital room, somewhat disheveled. It turned out that it had been a full 3 years, until he died saving a little girl from the river. That proud and lovely girl never appeared in my ward again. Now, reborn, I stand in the milk tea shop, looking at the girl before me. How blind I was in my past life. I couldn't even see that this girl liked me. Just then, a soft voice came from the doorway. Xiao Xia, haven't you bought it yet? I was holding a cup of still warm milk tea. If Ruo Yan knew it was bought to help Mian Mian. Zhou Mian Mian walked over and saw Luo Yanran standing in front of me. He stood confidently in front of Luo Yanran, because he knew that no matter how excellent Luo Yanran was, there was one thing he couldn't win, himself. Xie Xiao liked someone who didn't like him, but it was useless, however beautiful and dazzling Luo Yanran was. Thinking this, Zhou Mian Mian walked up to me with a sweet smile, leaning on my arm and saying to Luo Yanran, Senior Luo, what are you doing here? What a coincidence, Mian Mian said, and instinctively reached out to me. I opened mine and inserted a straw. A look of sadness flashed across Luo Yanran's eyes, just as Zhou Mian Mian was about to take it from me. I gave it to Luo Yanran instead. It might be a little sweet though. This is 70% sugar. Should I buy you another one? Luo Yanran looked at me with disbelief. Her eyes were still filled with confusion. Zhou Mian Mian, beside me, looked a little, can be translated as aggrieved, wronged, or upset. Context is needed for the best fit. Xia Xiao, this is my milk tea, I said, looking at him. You want some too? Then buy your own. It's right over there. I thoughtfully pointed to the ordering counter ahead. Zhou Mian Mian looked at me with a mixture of surprise and grievance. Didn't you buy this for me? I waited outside for a long time. It was so cold outside. Saying this, he glanced at the milk tea in my hand. His eyes and delicate cheeks began to redden. Is it because you ran into Luoxuing? So you gave it to him first? Xiao Xia, you're so kind, he said in a low voice, sounding aggrieved. Seeing his expression from where I stood, I just laughed. I pulled back my hand with the milk tea. I didn't offer it to Luo Yanyan again. Luo Yanyan saw me retract the milk tea. The light in her eyes completely dimmed, but she still stood up straight. It's like she doesn't care, just saying a cup of milk tea. I can still afford it myself. Zhou Mian Mian saw that I reacted exactly as she expected. She took back the milk tea, secretly pleased with herself. She said in a coquettish tone, Luoshue's family is rich, so I wouldn't be unable to afford a cup of milk tea. Xia Xiao, you're going to a lot of trouble, but you already gave this to Sister Luoshue. I don't want it. He just wanted me to buy him another one. After all, he doesn't want one that Luoyanran already had. But I, right now, had no intention of giving him the milk tea. Instead, I put the straw directly in my mouth and took a sip. Then he took out his phone and handed it to Luoyanran. This is too sweet. Order whatever you like. I know you can afford a cup of milk tea, but I want to treat you. I didn't mean to ignore him. Zhou Mian Mian was a little stunned, and inexplicably, she felt a little flustered. The Rock, who had been silent since he came in with him. From the initial surprise and jealousy, I actually knew the school bell, and upon seeing this, I secretly rejoiced that my chance had finally come. He softly said to Zhou Mian Mian, what would you like to drink? I'll buy it for you. I glanced at the Rock. He's my classmate, and he also likes Zhou Mian Mian. I always considered myself his nemesis. I used to really dislike seeing him fawning over Zhou Mian Mian. Now, I don't care. It's none of my business anymore. Zhou Mian Mian felt a little wronged at this moment. He was used to me always being around him. This was the first time he'd been ignored by me, along with feeling gloomy and angry. It also had a bit of luck involved. So Zhou Mian Mian deliberately said to Yen Shi, I want a brown sugar boba, 70% sugar. She said thank you and then deliberately glanced at me, waiting. I did as usual, extinguishing the cigarette and stopping. Then I gently coaxed her. But I found that I had already looked away. Instead, with a smile in his voice, he looked at Luo Yanran and said, what will you order? Luo Yanran's heart was racing. He reached out to take my phone. Then his own phone vibrated in his hand. He paused, as if suddenly realizing something. No, it's okay. I won't drink. Then he picked up his phone and went outside to answer it. Seeing this, Zhou Mian Mian's spirits sank. She felt uneasy. Xia Xiao seemed very different today. I glanced anxiously at the door. Then I ordered a hot milk tea for Luoyanran. Yen Shi quickly brought over 2 cups of milk tea. I watched him attentively hand one to Zhou Mian Mian. Mian Mian, 70% sugar. It's getting late. I'll take you home. Zhou Mian Mian frowned immediately after receiving the milk tea. It's iced? On such a cold day. Is this Yen Shi really a stone-headed person? But she still smiled. She softly thanked him. Thank you, Yen Shi. You're so kind. Zhou Miannian saw that I was completely ignoring them. Her expression was a little unpleasant. She glanced at Yan again. Sure was attentively looking at her. Usually, Xia Xiao would take me home. After the party, everyone else left early. Because I wanted to drink milk tea, Xia Xiao came to buy it for me. Even the rocks liked him. So he deliberately stayed behind, wanting a chance to be alone with him. But now Xia Zhao's attitude. So Zhou Miannian, somewhat petulantly, said to Yan, sure, okay, please take me back. Then she glanced at me. But I didn't give him a single glance. It was because of his confession before the party. Is that why you refused? Zhou Miannian frowned, glancing at the iced milk tea in her hand. After I got the milk tea, I heard Yan Sure diligently say the car was here. Let's go, Miannian. Zhou Miannian still stared with wide, watery eyes at me. I smiled and waved goodbye. Then, Rox took a dejected Zhou Miannian away. Luo Yanyan entered as they were leaving. The two of them had just gone out. He froze. He saw me still standing in the milk tea shop. Seeing him come in, I handed him the milk tea I had just packed. 3-point sugar fresh milk. Drinking milk tea at night makes it easy to lose sleep. I often see this gentle me, Ruoyan. But the object of my gentleness has always been that lucky girl named Zhou Miannian. Never him. So he's a little at a loss right now. He doesn't even know what expression to make on his face. I could only look away. What's with the cold, unilateral decision? I can buy it myself. After saying that, I felt a little annoyed. Those words must have made Xia Xiao angry, but he didn't expect me to laugh. Then you can pay me back next time. Next time, you treat me. Luo Yanyan's heart beat a little faster. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but curve up slightly. She reached out and took the milk tea from my hand. She said casually, next time, I'll treat you. I kind of wanted to pat his head, but I was afraid of being seen as a pervert. Luo Yanyan remembered something. I have something I need to leave for. I remembered him saying he had something to tell himself. It must have been a confession. So you said you had something to say. Luo Yanran reached out. She touched her slightly burning ears. Next time. I sighed. Then I'll take you home. No, the driver's arrived. I'm leaving. Luo Yanyan thought I was too gentle with him today. It made him uncomfortable and a little flustered. So he waved his hand and turned to leave. I sighed and wanted to call him back. But he had already run out the door. After Luo Yanyan got in the car, she stared blankly at the hot milk tea in her hand. He really wanted to confess his feelings to me today, even though he knows my heart only belongs to Zhou Miannian. But he still wanted to try. If he didn't try, he wouldn't have a chance. His family wants him to go abroad after the college entrance examination. But he doesn't want to leave Xia Xiao. Luo Yanran glanced out the window. But judging from just now, maybe he doesn't have absolutely no chance. At least, Xia Xiao seems. And he knows I like my milk tea 3/4 sugar. He seems different. On the other hand, I watched Luo Yan get in the car, then went straight home. When I went inside, I saw my father reading a book on the sofa. Our family is considered comfortably well off, a little above average. My dad is a teacher. My mom is a doctor. Mom's not home today. She must be working the night shift. Xia Qing, beside me, smiled and glanced at her son who sighed as soon as he entered. What are you doing? You sigh as soon as you see me. After I had my accident last time, my parents, who were originally cheerful and kind, went completely gray within 2 days. Wrinkles appeared on their faces too. They seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. In the years that followed, it must have been a torment for my parents. My eyes are a little teary, but I still managed to smile. No sighs. Lao Xia, aren't you sleeping yet? Oh, I wish I could sleep. Xia Qing smiled, put down his book and stood up. Didn't your mother say she saw you were having trouble sleeping the last couple of days? You stayed up very late last night. I guess you're feeling a bit overheated. I was specifically told to make you some sweet soup. Saying that, he walked towards the kitchen. He was still muttering. My wife cares more about you than she does about me. I followed him, watching his still straight back. Am I even his real son? Actually, I had insomnia the past 2 days. It's probably because I was thinking about how I would confess to Zhou Miannian before today's party. But the necklace I bought was given away, and the confession still failed. I've received scholarships for so many years, and I've basically spent it all on Zhou Miannian. I didn't keep any for myself. My parents bought even just $1 worth of something. As a result, my mother still worried that I would have insomnia and get angry. Lao Xie, who usually goes to bed on time, was still waiting for me to come back and drink the sweet water. Xie Qingxiao took out the sweet water and drank a lot. There was still one left inside, waiting for his wife to come back and drink it. Then in the blink of an eye, I saw myself standing behind him, my eyes red-rimmed. Don't you need to be so moved? He hesitantly asked, are you out of money? Wanting to ask me for living expenses. Then don't cry. Saying this, he glared at me. I twitched the corner of my mouth. Am I that kind of person? I just suddenly felt that you both have worked so hard. Xie Qinghe froze for a moment. Suddenly, he felt that his son was a little different today. Before he could figure it out, I had already reached out, taken the sugary drink, and walked away. Xie Qing followed me, sighed, and said, talk to your dad if something's wrong. You're all grown up now. She's unwilling to talk to us about what's bothering her. That's normal. I just hope that if there's anything you can't handle, you still have to tell your family. You're still young. Got it, Lao Xie. You're so verbose. I lowered my head and took a sip of the sweet drink without looking up. Go to sleep. Otherwise, you'll wake up again when my mom gets back. A single tear fell into the sweet water, following my mumbled words. A tear fell into the sugary drink. All right, you little stinker. Put it down when you're finished. I'll wash it tomorrow. Go to bed early. Don't stay up late every night. Xie Qing smiled and walked towards the room. Reaching the door, he couldn't help but ask, do you still have any money? Don't you often help that classmate of yours? You haven't run out of money yourself, have you? His parents are really good. It's a pity I wasn't a good son in my past life. Go to sleep. Don't keep talking about it. Xie Xinxiao said nothing more. She went into the room and closed the door. After I finished eating, I sat in the living room for a long time. In my past life, I spent the last 3 years in the hospital. Because after the car accident, I had a lot of health problems. I had to receive 4 infusions and take medicine for treatment every day. My parents and Luo Yanran, they took turns keeping me company every day. This companionship lasted for 3 years. For the rest of my life, I must treat Luo Yanran well. And I must treat my parents well too. I won't let them down. As for Zhou Mianyan, let's just forget about it. Thinking about this, I suddenly remembered that I didn't seem to have Luo Yan's contact information. I let out a fuck. I pulled out my phone and searched for keywords. It seemed I really didn't. I sighed. I clicked on one. It only had a profile picture of a basketball and a basketball court. Son, do you have Luo Yanran's WeChat? The other side quickly replied with a question mark, followed by, you goddamn dog, are you trying to switch to licking someone else? But this one's a bit better than your previous one. This one talks back. He's my best friend, Lin Yu. Of course, we've fallen out now. Because he couldn't stand me fawning over Zhou Mianyan. Until I have a confession party tonight. Lin Yu was so angry she couldn't even sing. But, initially, knowing it was because of Zhou Mianyan's incident, Lin Yu, who had already quarreled with me, when she went back to collect her acceptance letter, directly scolded Zhou Mianyan at school. I heard the words were extremely harsh. He scolded him until he cried. Later, he saw Zhou Mianyan on the street, acting inappropriately with another man, couldn't hold back, and rushed over to scold him. Again. He ended up fighting with Zhou Mianyan's companion. In the end, they both ended up in the police station. Unexpectedly, the other man was well connected. My last shower left a mark on my record. I'll never be eligible for a commendation because of it. Looking at the barbed message from shower, a pang of bitterness hit me. Finally, I couldn't help but smile. I sent a voice message, playing ball tomorrow? After a while, the other side sent back a voice message. The tone was irritable. What ball game? I haven't finished my homework. School starts the day after tomorrow. I'll get back to you when I have time. Then they pushed a WeChat contact card. Luo Yanran's WeChat. We were in the same club, after all. You haven't added her WeChat? I replied with a thank you, Dad emoticon. Then I opened the contact card, and I found out. I was surprised to find that they were already one of my friends. I was stunned for a moment. I clicked into the chat box. I found that there was actually a chat history, but these messages were rather glaring. On holidays and even on my birthday, they would always send their well wishes on time, and I would politely reply with just a thank you. I closed my slightly sore eyes, but suddenly, I lacked the courage to greet the person opposite me. Luo Yanran. Just how many little secrets does she still keep from me? I clicked on his moments. Meanwhile, Zhou Mianyan arrived home, and her grandmother had already fallen asleep. His residential area is old, and the facilities are inadequate. Even the stairwell lights are broken. And yet, Yanshur is really like a stone. I took him downstairs and went back. At this time, Zhou Mianyan started thinking about me again. For the past few years, I've basically been unwavering in seeing him safely to his doorstep. After Zhou Mianyan went into the room, I took out my phone and glanced at it. There were no messages from him. He angrily threw his phone onto the bed. Xie Xiao is going too far. I was just thinking that if he apologized, I would reluctantly forgive him. Now I definitely won't pay him any attention. He touched his neck. It's the necklace I just gave him tonight. Zhou Mianyan couldn't help but pick up her phone again. She clicked into her moments. She posted, the night is so cold today. I miss you. Even though you might have already grown tired of me. Then, she started waiting expectantly for my reply. Unfortunately, even until the next day, he still didn't receive any message from me. I got to the shower early on the first day of school. Unexpectedly, quite a few people were already in the classroom when I got there. Lin Yu came in and addressed me with a lifetime of, why so early today? Didn't you go pick up your princess? Before, I was always more punctual than the school bus at the gate. Rain or shine, I picked up Zhou Mianyan from school every day. Lin Yu is already used to it. Seeing me this early is unusual. Sitting here still feels a little strange. I couldn't help but be sarcastic. I looked up from my textbook at him. Cut the sarcasm. I brought you breakfast. Eat up. The boss will be here soon. Lin Yu glanced at the soy milk on her desk. And the jianbing. Her complexion did look a little better. It's just that she still looked a little pale. My family runs a breakfast shop. Why did you bring me breakfast? That's what I said. Eat without any restraint. Don't push your luck. It's almost time for class. The classroom gradually filled up with people. Lin Yu finished the last bite of the jianbing. Finally, he looked at me directly. Where's Zhou Mianyan? I'm really not chasing her anymore, really not. My tone was calm. I'm studying hard now to do well on the college entrance exam, to contribute to the nation's construction in the future. Then why did you ask me for Luoyan Ran's contact information that night? He glanced at me. You can't possibly not see that he likes you, can you? I turned to look at the shower. Do you know? Many people know. You're so blinded by greed, you don't know. Why support a fake princess when you have a real one? Lin Yu sarcastically said. I didn't expect that I wouldn't only not be angry, but I'd also nod in agreement. Aren't you blinded by greed? The two were chatting, when a commotion came from the front. Lu Xiaoping. Concerned, he asked Zhou Mianyan, who had entered with red-rimmed eyes. Mianyan, why are you so late today? Xia Xiao found Zhou Mianyan, her movements faltered. He turned, his eyes red-rimmed, and looked at me in the back seat. At that moment, I looked up at him. My eyes still held a smile, but that smile faded considerably after seeing him. And quickly, I averted my gaze and said, Big brother, give me some face. Say less. Li Yu snorted. She glanced at Zhou Mianyan. Ultimately, she said nothing. Zhou Mianyan. I had absolutely no intention of getting involved in this matter. Tears immediately started falling. These past 2 days, he's been resisting the urge to message me. He's only been posting one WeChat moment a day, waiting for me to reach out. But until this morning, he hadn't received a single message from me. He finally couldn't hold back any longer. He sent me a message, Xia Xiao. He said he wanted to eat jianbing. The moment I sent it, it showed that we weren't friends yet. I couldn't chat with him. Zhou Mianyan's heart sank. Xia Xiao had deleted me. His hands trembled as he opened my moments. Sure enough, it was completely blank. The resentment and anger Zhou Mianyan had felt. He instantly panicked. He frantically gathered his things and went downstairs. Sure enough, the familiar sound was gone. Hey Mianyan, why are you crying? Yan Shi walked in. Seeing Zhou Mianyan crying, he couldn't help but shout, what happened? His voice was loud. My classmates, who had been studying or chatting, all looked over. I alone kept my head down, writing the answer I'd just calculated on the CT scan. Xia Xiao, how could you? Zhou Mianyan didn't take the tissue from Yan Shi, nor did she pay attention to the others looking over. He knew too well. How did I manage to evoke your pity? Tears fell drop by drop. My voice trembled. Why did you delete me? My hand froze mid-stroke. Finally, I looked up at him. It was so familiar. A look of grievance. His eyes were full of hurt, as if he'd done something unforgivable. He always used to evoke my sympathy like this, but now I just coldly watched him. Because I wanted to clean up my friends list. Some unnecessary people. So I deleted that word. Zhou Mianyan's face instantly drained of color. He's not an unnecessary person. I just watched him silently, saying nothing. I could hear the other students whispering. They couldn't help but cast gossiping glances, but they didn't get to enjoy the spectacle for long. Our homeroom teacher walked in. Zhou Mianyan lowered her head. Tears kept falling. Lu Xiaoping quietly slipped him some tissues. I felt he was quite embarrassed by what I said, but I was also curious about what had happened. Zhou Mianyan took the tissues from him. She softly said thank you. She wiped her eyes. In the end, she put her school bag away first. I habitually reached out to touch something, and I touched something warm. Zhou Mianyan's eyes lit up. Taking it out to look, it was actually breakfast. His eyes lit up. He knew Xia Xiao wouldn't ignore him. He was just sulking. Was it because of the delay? Xia Xiao has such a bad temper. Zhou Mianyan couldn't help but feel a little resentful. But deep down, she was afraid. Xia Xiao's attitude these past few days had her guessing. So many people liked him, but none could compare to Xia Xiao. Zhou Mianyan couldn't help but touch her necklace. She just waited until after class. I have to take the initiative to give Xia Xiao a way out. As for him deleting me and making me lose face, I'll settle the score with him later. The bell rang, signaling the end of class. And I had just stood up and stretched when I saw Zhou Mianyan in front of me with red eyes. She placed a plate of chengfun and a necklace on my desk. Her voice was full of grievance. Since you say we're strangers, then I'll return these to you. You don't need to be nice to me. Don't do it anymore. She finished, still sounding resentful and aggrieved. She cast a somewhat reluctant glance at me. The shower next to her. I rolled my eyes. Filming an idol drama here? After Zhou Mianyan did all that, she went back. She silently counted down Xie Zhao's. When would he coax her? When she first arrived, she saw a familiar hand holding that bag of breakfast, placing it on his desk. He just curled the corner of his mouth. Then he heard me say that I didn't buy this thing. I took the necklace. Selling it will get me some money back. Zhou Mianyan's expression froze. But I felt pretty good. I had considered asking him for it back before. But on second thought, I felt a little embarrassed. I looked at the necklace Zhou Mianyan returned to me. My own necklace. It's a shame. It's secondhand now after being worn. Lin Yu, isn't there a shop that buys secondhand jewelry near your house? Let's go sell this thing after school this afternoon. We should be able to get a few hundred kuai for it, right? Lin Yu, I've discovered something this time. I guess I really won't lick him anymore. I feel a little better. I think it's because I was rejected again last night. I've finally woken up to it. My roommate's family's thing looks pretty new. Why don't you just give it to your aunt? I'd lose a few hundred selling it. No way. My mom wouldn't want these things that have been touched by others. They're dirty, I wouldn't even consider it. Zhou Miannian in front only felt a blur before her eyes. Tears just fell. What's wrong with Xiaoxiao today? Yanshi just ran over at that moment. He saw the breakfast on his desk. He said solicitously, "Hey, Miannian, why aren't you eating? This place just opened. I waited in line. This whole morning." Zhou Miannian felt wronged and angry. She just happened to hear my dirty remark. Her anger was instantly directed at Yanshi. He picked up the bag of breakfast. He flung it at the rock without hesitation. "Who wants your breakfast? Can you just leave me alone?" After saying that, she pushed aside a chair. She stormed out, angry and upset. The rock was so stunned by the impact that he didn't react. He stood there, completely bewildered. A male classmate watched the whole thing. He said that with a smile. Rin Banhua originally thought it was Xiaoxiao who sent the breakfast. "Who knew it was you? I don't want yours." Then Yanshi glared at me fiercely. His face contorted. "Do you have any shame? Did you buy this?" "I didn't say I bought it. It's none of my business that he misunderstood." I let out a cold snort. "You shouldn't blame the person who dirted your clothes. You're blaming me. You're like a dog, biting anyone you see." Everyone around me was stunned. They were so used to my gentle and refined demeanor. Today, I delivered one blow after another. I completely shattered their preconceived notions. Lin Yu gave a thumbs up. Then he glanced mockingly at the dumbfounded Yen. "Stop picking on the weak, sure. The persimmons are hard now. You should go check on your goddess. How's it going? Otherwise, it won't matter to you if someone else gets there first." Yan's face showed some embarrassment. He glared at me fiercely and turned away. Lin Yu glanced at me, suddenly so tall. Simple trash talk. Ultimate enjoyment. "I finally know why you like to be mean to people." I gave him a gentle smile. "Because of this morning. Zhou Miannian hasn't spoken to me since." He was actually a little panicked about this, but he still felt that I was angry because of his rejection, and my acceptance of Yanshi's attentions. So he ignored all other girls. He just acted very. At the same time, he couldn't help but start overthinking. What if Xiaoxiao really ignored him? He felt a panic of abandonment. He was absent-minded all morning. As soon as the lunch bell rang, the boys rushed out like crazy. I also ran out with Lin Yu. Lin Yu even called out, "What's the hurry?" I wanted to take a nap. The sweet and sour pork ribs in the cafeteria are only available on Mondays. I grabbed him and ran. His voice was quite urgent. Zhou Miannian behind them glanced at their backs. Her face was pale. She looked at her deskmate and said, "Can I have lunch with you today?" Lu Xiaoping looked at his pitiful appearance. She sighed. "Okay, but Miannian, what's wrong between you and Xiaoxiao?" At this question, his eyes started to redden again. Lu Xiaoping quickly waved her hands. "It's nothing, nothing. It's okay if you don't want to talk about it." Zhou Miannian wiped away her tears. She said, "Let's go to the dining hall together." Finally, the last few girls headed towards the dining hall. Ling Yu was in line. "You noticed me looking around for something. You were curious about who I was looking for." "I bet my whole life. Actually, I don't like sweet and sour pork ribs, but I know Luo Yanran likes them. In my past life, she mentioned them several times. She wanted to come back to number 1 middle school to eat them. She must have really liked them." Sure enough, I saw her at the entrance. Luo Yanran hurriedly pulled a girl inside, but the line was already very long. They were at the very back. "I don't know if they'll even make it." Luo sighed. He glanced at Luo Yanran, who, although expressionless, still showed her disappointment. "I'm sorry, Yanran. It's all my fault. If I hadn't suddenly gotten my period, I wouldn't have missed this time. It's not your fault. We can eat it next time." Luo Yanran glanced at him, although she knew they probably wouldn't get a chance. Luo Yanran still stubbornly joined the end of the line. There behind, 2 people away from Zhou Miannian and the others. Zhou Miannian glanced at Luo Yanyan ahead. He just stood there, and could attract everyone's attention. At that moment, I had just finished making 3 servings of sweet and sour pork ribs. 2 servings were for takeout. "You really love them, huh? Are you taking it home for dinner tonight?" Lin Yu stared blankly. I glanced at him. "It's none of your business." Until he saw me carrying the packed sweet and sour pork ribs, walking towards the back of the line. Lin Yu's face turned green. This kid got takeout for Zhou Miannian. Luo Yanyan hadn't noticed originally. Zhou Miannian and the others are behind. Until they heard a few excited girls' voices. "Miannian, look, it's Xiaoxiao, he's coming over. He must have takeout for you in his hand. Luo Yanyan is so sensitive to my name." He looked up. Sure enough, he saw in my hand. She's still holding 2 to-go boxes of sweet and sour pork ribs. He went too far today. I'm not going to pay him any attention. Zhou Miannian's voice was aggrieved and slightly proud. Her gaze pretended to casually glance at Luo Yan ahead. Sure enough, he was staring intently at Xiaoxiao, and the direction I came from was clearly his side. Zhou Miannian's heart settled down a little. Xiaoxiao wouldn't ignore him, sure enough. Zhou Miannian curled her lips. She reached out and touched her hair. I don't know why, but I'm a little nervous now. But he decided to forgive me anyway. At first, I Really didn't notice Zhou Mianyan and them. You're such a dog. I heard him muttering curses in the shower. He glared at me without a word. How long has he been cursing? Enough already. I was speechless. I was about to ask what he was cursing about, but we were already approaching Luo Yanran. I decided to give him the sweet and sour pork ribs I'd packed first. I'll talk to the shower later. I hadn't even opened my mouth yet. When I was just standing in front of Luo Yanran, I heard Zhou Mianyan's voice. Xia Xiao was holding the bag, and a slender white hand grabbed it. Thank you for packing the sweet and sour pork ribs for me. I abruptly pulled the bag back from her. Only then did I look at Zhou Mianyan, whose face was full of displeasure. Don't you have some nerve? I'm just getting this packed up for you. As soon as I said that, everyone around looked at me in surprise, but I ignored all the curious stares. I just looked at the disappointment on Luo Yanran's face, a disappointment she hadn't yet managed to hide. Senior sister, this is packed up for you both. The tone of his voice completely lacked the impatience he'd shown when facing Zhou Mianyan. Instead, there was a hint of gentleness. The crowd, who had been sighing and whispering, were startled. This is going to be a great show. A showdown between the two campus goddesses. Luo Yanyan. In the stinging pain of Luo secretly pinching his waist, he came to his senses. He looked down at the 2 servings of sweet and sour pork ribs in my hands, when gave them to me. He made 2 extra servings, seeing that the senior sister was also in this line. He probably likes this too. I looked at him. Her voice was very gentle. Zhou Mianyan was completely ignored. Her face turned pale. The prying eyes around her made Zhou Mianyan feel embarrassed. He felt like he heard countless mocking voices. Finally, he glared fiercely at me and Luo Yanran. Then, with red eyes, he turned and ran out of the cafeteria. Lu Xiaoping responded with a sound and then chased after them. At this time, a girl softly called out, "Thank you." Xiao Mianyan ran away crying. My gaze was indifferent at that moment. I glanced at the girl and said, "Oh, what does it have to do with me?" Luo shouted again. "It seems my best friend's unrequited love. Maybe there's still some hope." He smiled and reached out, helping Nu Yan take the sweet and sour pork ribs from my hand. "Thank you, Junior. I almost thought I wouldn't get to eat them today." Luo Yanran also looked up at me. My behavior towards Zhou Mianyan just now. He saw it all, including that glare Zhou Mianyan just gave him. Luo Yanyan couldn't deny that she was a little happy inside, but she didn't show it on her face. Instead, she slightly raised her chin, her tone somewhat forceful. "I'll transfer the money to you later." Luo rolled her eyes behind her. His best friend's got that arrogant little quirk again. No wonder people say she's a high-class flower. Hearing that, I couldn't help but laugh. "Then let's go get a table and eat. Senior sisters, you guys should go too." Saying this, she pulled me. Linyu, who was still eating melon with the onlookers. "Xia Xiao, what's wrong with you?" After showering and sitting down, I couldn't help it. "You're not yourself today." Linyu has known me since elementary school. I can only say he knows me too well. He originally thought he wouldn't lick the wound/problem. At most, he wouldn't ignore Zhou Mianyan anymore. But now it seems his attitude is quite bad. And it's not something I'd usually do. I smiled at his questioning, worried gaze. I've just let go. It's better to live life on my own terms than to worry too much about what others think. It's better to live a life that makes me happy. Linyu was stunned. In the end, he didn't say much, just nodded. "I like what you said. You were just too pretentious before. He seems to be popular. But actually, everyone takes advantage of him." I sighed in the shower. "Do you know why you don't have any other friends? You're too harsh." But in the shower, I felt at ease. What's the point of having so many friends? Having one close friend is already not easy. Looking at the shower in front of me, I remembered something from my past life. A smile appeared in my eyes. I nodded in agreement. "You're right. I originally planned to get a good spot. Maybe I could even have lunch with Luo Yanran. Then I found out he took his lunch to go. He even glanced our way as he left." I gave him a bright smile. Luo Yanran quickly looked away. Her departing steps seemed a little hurried. The showerhead opposite watched my silly grin. It was a little hard to look at. "What's going on between you and Luo Yanran? I thought you were deliberately ignoring me." I glanced at him. Not obvious enough. Shower made a tell me more expression, gesturing for me to just say it. But I shook my head and smiled. "I can't tell you. It's just that I suddenly discovered a treasure, and now I want to keep it all to myself." Shower had a what the heck expression, but I smiled serenely. Then my phone vibrated. It was the profile picture I'd looked at countless times. The one I never dared to message. It appeared on my phone screen. Below it was a WeChat red envelope. I didn't open the red envelope. Instead, I replied, "Senior sister, I don't want the red envelope or the last milk tea. You should treat me to dinner." After sending it, I patiently waited for a reply, but I hadn't received a response from Luo Yanran yet. Then I received a text message. It was from Zhou Mianyan, "Xia Xiao. I'm waiting for you at the usual place. I won't leave until you come." I frowned slightly as I looked at the message. I completely forgot to block the number after playing ball. My hands kept moving, blocking one by one. Then, a very comfortable smile appeared on my face. Linyu looked at me. One moment happy, the next moment expressionless. "So strange, you dog. Should you go to a temple to pray?" Seriously, all these years I've felt something's wrong with you. It's like he's been hexed. He sighed. The teacher asked, what do you actually like about Jo Mian? She's not pretty, and her grades are average. She's just so wishy-washy, no good at anything. She just knows how to play the victim. I really can't see any of her good qualities. I glanced at him. I seriously thought back about why I liked Jo Mian so much in the beginning. We were classmates in our first year of high school. Her family wasn't well off. Her tuition fees were waived. I didn't pay much attention to her at the time. I just thought she seemed to have a nice personality. She never refused when others asked her for help. Until that day, I saw a new addition at the back door, where stray cats often appeared. One more. A slender female figure. She was holding a can of cat food, gently feeding the stray cats. That image was imprinted on my heart. As for me now, I can still remember that day. I was smiling as I said it. I guess I was truly bewitched. I loved, I gave. There's nothing to regret. But when I found out the result later, I was still filled with regret and anger. So in this life, I don't intend to make the same mistake again. I'm a little disappointed. Until the lunch break ended, Luo Yanran hadn't recovered. Looks like I won't be having lunch today. But then Lu Xiaoping, who was in front of me, turned around and asked me, where did Xie Xiaomian go? I looked at her with a completely bewildered expression. How would I know? Aren't you his deskmate? You don't know, and you ask me? Lu Xiaoping was stunned. Mian is waiting for you by the side gate, in the garden. Didn't you get the message? You know where he is, and you ask me? I just looked at him speechless. Then she continued to bury her head in her problems. Lin Yu sneered from the side, Lu Xiaoping. Do you know what you look like in a TV drama? Jo Mian is like the main character, and you're like her maid. She says what she says. Lu Xiaoping glared at Lin Yu. Only you have a mouth. You're the maid. Then he turned around huffily. He didn't mention Jo Mian again after that. Jo Mian really was at the side gate, waiting in the garden for a whole lunch break. Unexpectedly, I never came. Seeing that it was almost time for class, he got a little anxious. So he sent Lu Xiaoping a message. He himself, earlier. But I asked him to subtly remind Xie Xiao. Why haven't I seen him yet? But after he sent the message, Lu Xiaoping replied, how should I know? Can't you guys solve your own problems? You're not speechless. Even through the internet, I could tell he was angry. Mian was stunned. What happened while I wasn't in the classroom? In the end, he didn't dare to really skip class. He went back to the classroom. Only when I got to the classroom did I realize I was actually there. But until he sat down, I still had my head down, working on problems. I didn't give him a single extra glance. Jo Mian felt like crying again. Actually, until now, he still doesn't understand what's wrong with me. Jo Mian spent the whole day waiting for evening classes to end. Our school requires evening self-study for the third-year students, but there's a 2-hour break in between. Jo Mian hadn't eaten much all day. At noon, she only swiped her card for a bread, and she discovered that she only had a little over 90 yuan left in her card. The school bell rang. Jo Mian turned to me and said, let's eat together. Her voice was a little hesitant, lacking its previous air of entitlement. Lin Yu stood up and asked me, are you still going to exchange that necklace? Yes. But just as I stood up, my hand was grabbed. His eyes were red and swollen. His voice was soft, Xie Xiao. That's the necklace you gave me. Don't you really want it back? I finally looked him in the eye. Then I looked at the hand he was holding. Gently, I shook him off. You said it was a gift from you. You returned him to me this morning. What I do with him is my business. But I regret it. Xie Xiao, I want him back. Jo Mian whispered. Unfortunately, I shook my head. Unfortunately, I don't want to give him back. Then I left with the shower head next to me. Jo Mian sat in the chair looking at me. She really left without looking back. He lowered his head, dejected. What exactly did I do wrong? Yanshi waited for a long time in the back. Seeing me leave, he walked over, crouched in front of him, and offered a tissue. Mian, don't be sad. Xie Xiao probably changed his mind. I saw him talking to Luo Yanran at the restaurant before. He's not worth it. Xie Xiao wouldn't. Xie Xiao would never. Jo Mian flung his hand off and stood up. Tilting her chin, she looked at him with a disdainful expression. Stay away from me from now on. Then she turned and left. I was already on my way to the pawn shop. I was planning to sell the necklace first, then go out for dinner. But I had just reached the school gate when my phone vibrated. It was a message from Sir Luo Yanran. What are you eating? Now? I stopped and told the shower I wasn't going. What? Having second thoughts? The shower stopped and asked me. But this thing is really a ripoff to resell. But I just pulled out the chain and shoved it into his hand. You go exchange it for me. Whatever you eat tonight, it's on me. I have something to do, so I'll go first. I'll treat you to dinner later. After saying that, I turned around and ran back to school. Lin Yu called out to me, but I ran away without looking back. I even waved to him. You didn't tell me how much you plan to sell it for. Lin Yu held the necklace in his hand. I don't have time to think about that right now. I never intended to get the necklace back anyway. It's a windfall. Every little bit helps. Now that I've gotten rid of Jo Mian, that leech, my life is sweet. When I got to the bottom of the teaching building, I sent Luo Yanyan a message. Senior sister, I'm downstairs. Where are you? A girl's voice came from nearby. Here I am. I looked in the direction of the voice. It was Luo Yanran, the senior sister I had lunch with at noon. Then I ran over there smiling. Excuse me, I just saw your message. Luo Yanran watched the boy run towards her, backlit. His face held a gentle smile. This scene was something she hadn't dared to imagine before. What he'd seen most often was my back as I ran towards another girl. Of course, he didn't send the message. He simply didn't know how to reply. It was still Luo who couldn't bear to watch it at the end of class. Seeing that he was constantly distracted, I directly snatched his phone and sent a message. Luo Yanyan was still anxiously pulling on Luo. Before he could react, Luo had already called someone over. I think you two have a chance. The younger brother is also very proactive. No sooner had Luo finished speaking, he couldn't help but ponder how to respond without causing offense. Luo, standing beside him, didn't wait for Luo Yanran to come up with a reply, but said with a smile, you two go eat. Bring me back a side door Liangpi to go. Thank you, I said, looking at him in surprise. Aren't you joining us, senior? No, I can't wave goodbye. I still have homework to finish. It's due tonight, you know. I'm going home, saying, and then gave Luo Yanran, who had remained expressionless the whole time, a little push. He also whispered in her ear, good luck. Then he went upstairs without looking back. I glanced at Luo Yanyan, who hadn't spoken the whole time. Senior, shall we go? Luo Yanyan lifted her delicate and beautiful face. Looking at me, her tone was filled with displeasure. Do you call everyone senior? That question completely stunned me. I wanted to call her wife, you know, but could I say that? So I offered a gentle smile. I'll call you Ran Ran, because everyone else calls you Luo Luo. I wanted to use a different name. The girl in front of me started to blush. She snorted and turned away. Her steps quickened as she walked ahead, leaving behind an impatient, whatever. It's just a title. I smiled slightly. I caught up with him in 2 steps. Just a title. So, what are we having for dinner? Luo Yanran's face was still flushed from my earlier comment. Yanran felt her face still burning. Her steps were hurried. Your tone sounds impatient. Whatever. Didn't you ask me to treat you to dinner? You choose. I'm just paying anyway. But Luo Yanran regretted it as soon as she finished speaking. He quickly glanced at me beside him. Afraid I'd show displeasure on my face. Then his voice softened a little. I'm afraid Luo will be hungry if we take too long to pack. And we have class soon. His voice trailed off. He thought that if he were Xiaoxiao, he would have been angry by now. He wondered if he could ever change his bad habits. But I wasn't angry. Instead, I seriously said, let's go eat noodles at the snack street by the back gate. It seems a new noodle shop opened over there. I just don't know if it's any good. Luo Yan noticed my tone hadn't changed much. He was a little stunned. He couldn't help but look up at me seriously. Although he knew I was a very gentle person, this was the first time he felt it so directly. I saw he wasn't speaking. I hummed, a little puzzled. What's wrong? Don't you like noodles? Then let's go to a different place. I only saw him quickly avert his gaze. If you like them, let's eat noodles. The small noodle shop was still in business. There were only 2 or 3 tables occupied when we went in. Then I ordered the same thing as Luo Yanran. Then I told the waiter directly, no cilantro in either bowl. Luo Yanran's eyes showed curiosity. How did you know I don't eat cilantro and scallions? I thought to myself, I know a lot more than that. But of course, I couldn't say that. I just smiled and said, I once heard it in the dining hall, behind you and your classmates. Luo Yanran blinked. Did I mention this in the dining hall? I don't remember. But he didn't think I had any reason to lie to him. So Luo Yanran just nodded. My gaze kept returning to his face. After he passed away in his previous life, I suffered for another month. Before that, I hadn't seen him for over a month. Is there something on my face? Was my gaze too direct, too obvious? It made Luo Yan feel a little uneasy. She couldn't help but touch her cheek. I shook my head and smiled. No, it's just that my senior is really pretty. Luo Yanyan was stunned for a moment. Actually, many people have said this to her, but this is the first time I've heard me say it. After I said it, I felt it was wrong. Why does it sound so cheesy? Then I softly coughed. Yes, I think the senior has a very distinctive look. She's quite different from other girls. After saying that, I felt I should have kept my mouth shut. Sure enough, Luo Yanran looked at me with a puzzled expression. Who looks exactly like everyone else? We're not twins. After that, both of them fell silent. An awkward atmosphere hung between us. I sighed inwardly. Why am I so useless? Don't I usually manage to keep up a conversation? I glanced at Luo Yanran. He was looking down, lost in thought. Then, after a moment, he spoke. Actually, if you feel awkward eating with me, you don't have to force yourself. Anyway, I didn't really want to come out to eat. From Luo Yanran's perspective, I should have been unable to refuse his message. And I'm sitting here so awkwardly with him. So he couldn't help but say something so awkward. Xiaoxiao must be quite uncomfortable, right? I looked at him and directly denied it. I just suddenly didn't know what to talk about. I'm a little nervous. Luo Yanran looked up at me. Nervous about what? You weren't nervous before, in front of so many people at the debate competition. Not at all. That's when I remembered. Luo Yanran and I met in the debate club. I was only a high school freshman back then. Luo Yanran is a year ahead of me. She was the vice president. Later, because of Zhou Mianyan, she said I spent too much time in the club, so I decisively quit the debate club. I remember Luo Yanran at the time seemed to have privately asked me why I quit, but I was so anxious to find Zhou Mianyan then. I don't even remember my excuse. When Luo Yanyan mentioned the debate competition, I couldn't help but add, after all this time, you still remember? I don't remember. Luo Yanyan blurted it out without thinking, then remembered she had just mentioned it. Says he doesn't remember. That's a lie. He tapped his finger on the table. I heard my younger classmates mention it before. Suddenly, I remembered. It would be great if there were recordings. I didn't save any before. I sighed. What a shame. I don't really remember how I performed back then. Nor do I remember what you were like. Nguyenren glanced at me. My film club has a recording, but I have to find it. I couldn't help but show a surprised expression. Really? But I shouldn't be able to get in, right? Nguyen software. I really want it, I think. So I pretended to be nonchalant and said, I'll look for it for you when I have time. But that depends on when I have free time. Actually, he has backups saved on his own phone. He's looked at them countless times. That's also how his feelings began. Luo Yanran thought of this and couldn't help but glance at me. Unexpectedly, our eyes met, and I was smiling. Luo Yanran's heart skipped a beat, and she wanted to look away. But she felt that would be even more awkward. So she tried her best to maintain a blank expression and meet my gaze. Only, her ears and face uncontrollably began to burn. My gaze couldn't help but drift to those ears, which were growing increasingly red. Finally, he gently looked away. Senpai seems to blush easily. Luo Yanyan couldn't help but reach out and touch her burning ears and face. She still couldn't help but retort. I blush easily even in a little heat. It's a physical thing. But we were still wearing coats at that time. Fortunately, I just smiled. I nodded and said that physique is indeed special. Luo Yanran couldn't figure it out. Was I intentional or unintentional? That statement sounded like a lie. Yet I said it so seriously. Finally, Luo Yanran simply lowered her head and didn't speak. Just then, our food arrived. This greatly eased the awkwardness between them. They quietly began to eat their noodles. No one spoke until they finished their noodles. But Luo Yanyan felt that the awkwardness between them slowly disappeared. It became a very natural interaction. It was as if they had eaten noodles together countless times before. This idea is so bizarre, but it also made his heart flutter a little. If it were always like this, it wouldn't be so bad. Until the meal was finished, I suddenly spoke. I'd wanted to find my senior countless times before, but I didn't have the courage. Luo Yanran looked up at me. Why did you want to find me? Is something the matter? It's not really anything. I just wanted to ask what exactly you wanted to tell me that night, senior. I looked straight at Luo Yanran. This time, I wasn't planning on wasting any time. I'll claim what's rightfully mine. But Luo Yanran looked at me with surprise. Actually, the words I couldn't say that night vanished along with his meager courage that same night. It was gone. In the following days, he opened my chat window countless times, but he didn't send a single message. It was all just their formal, formulaic conversations. From Luo Yanran's perspective, perhaps my gentleness that night was because I'm a gentle person by nature. Most likely, anyone else wouldn't have refused either. In the end, Luo Yanran gave up. So the matter vanished without a trace. He just didn't expect that I still remembered it. And brought it up. Looking at me, clearly waiting for his answer. Luo Yanran suddenly didn't know what to say. She couldn't even gauge whether Xia Xiao knew about her feelings for him. If he knew and asked her this, would it mean he felt something for her too? Then what about Zhou Mianyan? He seemed unsure of my thoughts and attitude, so she found it difficult to answer. Seeing him like that across from me, I suddenly sighed. Ultimately, I couldn't bring myself to force him. And for the current Luo Yanran, I suppose I'm just one of the people he likes, right? It's not like last life where we knew each other so well. But I'm confident. I was such a mess in my past life. Luo Yanran didn't even reject me. Now that I'm like this, how can I not win my goddess's heart? So I took the initiative to change the subject. Did you forget? But it doesn't matter. It's fine if you forgot. Luo Yanran softly hummed in response. It was a seemingly casual question. How come I haven't seen you with Zhou Mianyan from your class lately? Did you two have a fight? My movements faltered. No matter what, these past 2 years I've been good to Zhou Mianyan. Everyone has seen that. I wondered if, in the future, if we were really together, would Luo Yanran mind? Actually, I wouldn't want to either. I did indeed pursue Zhou Mianyan for a long time. There's no point denying that. Even if I'm not pursuing her anymore now, the feelings and money I invested in those years still exist. Luo Yanran brought up this incident, and I fell silent for a moment. We're just ordinary classmates. There's no need to be together every day. Besides, men and women should maintain a proper distance. Luo Yanran noticed my brief silence. He really wanted to ask me directly, don't you like Zhou Mianyan? Why are you having dinner alone with him? Why are you having dinner alone with him? but he didn't dare to be the first to express his feelings. People who harbor secret crushes are always insecure. At that moment, he only uttered a no. Even if he was heartbroken, he didn't show it. Then he scanned the code to pay and said, "Let's go." He went back. I watched his suddenly low spirits. He sighed. He seemed to have messed things up. It seems. I'll just have to be even better to Luo Yanyan from now on. After all, only the best is good enough for Luo Yanyan. The two of them walked towards the side gate of the school, one after the other, to buy the liangpi that Luo likes. Luo Yanyan walked a few steps, then suddenly looked at me and said, "You go back first." I hummed in response and asked, "Where else do you need to go?" Luo Yanran took a can of cat food out of her bag. She shook it to feed the cat. I looked at the familiar brand of cat food. It was the same brand Zhou Mianmian had been holding when I met her before. I hesitated and asked, "Is it for the stray cat?" These cans were a gift from a friend of my mother's. We have a cat at home, too. He can't eat this much, and he's on a diet. So I took it out to feed the stray cats. Luo Yanyan glanced at me, hesitantly asking, "Do you want to join me?" I was a little stunned. I nodded. Then I looked at Luo Yanyan. She skillfully found the stray cat's den. She took another bag of cat food from her backpack. It was time to put it out. After finally putting down the cat food and canned food, she turned to leave. I stopped her. "Aren't you waiting for them to come out?" "No need. They're very wary." Luo Yanran seemed to remember something. Frowning, "Actually, it was fine at first. I came here once when I was in my second year of high school. I discovered one of their cats was missing. For a long time afterwards, they wouldn't touch anything I put down. I suspected someone had lured them away before. The hand I was helping him carry the cold noodles with suddenly tightened a little. Seeing that familiar can of cat food is a bit jarring. I seem to suddenly remember some fragmented pieces. From the day after I saw Zhou Mianmian feeding the cat, he had some more wounds on his hands. His deskmate even made a fuss asking him what happened. That was also the first time I showed him concern. I bought him some medicine. "Is that cat food expensive?" Luo Yanran glanced at me after I asked that. "It's alright, but it's not cheap. Imported." I laughed then. It felt like I suddenly woke up from a dream. That Zhou Mianmian, whom I'd put on a pedestal, shattered. That cat food isn't cheap. Back then, with our difficult family circumstances, that porridge, Mianmian simply couldn't afford it. And afterward, he never showed any signs of liking small animals. The wound on his hand, and later, when he accidentally saw a stray cat, his scared reaction. Finally, there was that missing stray cat. Right now, I feel like a little cutie. Suddenly, someone tugged on my coat sleeve. Luo Yanran's voice was very soft. "Look." I looked in the direction she indicated. A few stray cats peeked out, and there were a few kittens behind them. I turned to look at the girl beside me. His gaze towards the stray cat was gentle. "And there are a few kittens too. I'll bring some goat's milk next time." My voice involuntarily softened. "Did you ever find that missing cat?" Luo Yanran's expression became very downcast. "Luo and I searched this area, but we didn't find him." He paused. "I also saw some bloodstains." I closed my eyes. "I'm sorry. It's not your fault anyway." Luo Yanran glanced at me. She seemed a little bewildered by my apology. Then he looked at the cat again. "Let's go. Luo will be hungry soon." I also glanced at the cats. Then I turned around and followed Luo Yanran. "Do you come here every day?" "Basically. Actually, it's not just me who feeds them. Other people feed them too. But I'm always worried," Luo Yanran said, suddenly glancing at me. "No, not worried. I just happened to be here." But I smiled and said, "Next time, take me with you." Luo Yanran looked at me in surprise. "You like cats too?" Her eyes lit up. "I started liking them today." Luo Yanran paused. She walked forward beside me. "Actually, it's quite normal not to like them. Not everyone likes small animals, as long as no one gets hurt." I clenched the thing in my hand. I couldn't help but glance back at the cats. Luo Yanyan suddenly stopped at the fork in the road. "Tonight's noodles were pretty good," she said. I couldn't bring myself to say the final thank you, but I didn't mind. "I'll walk you there." Luo Yanyan was a little surprised. "No need. It's just a short distance. It's not like I don't know the way." Then he just snatched the cold noodles right out of my hand and hurried away. I touched my nose. I must have scared him. Probably. A stranger being so helpful all of a sudden. I sighed. But I really couldn't find any other chance to be enthusiastic. We don't even share the same building. Finally, I watched his back disappear at the bottom of the stairs. Then I turned to leave. But I immediately saw Yen standing not far behind me. "You scared the hell out of me. Are you crazy?" I'm speechless. Rox stared at me menacingly. The sarcastic tone said, "They say you, Xia Xiao, are polite and gentle. I really should let those infatuated girls see you like this." "I don't care." I walked past him and prepared to leave, but Rox stopped me. "Wait, are you going after Luo Yanran? Then can you stay away from Mian? I stopped and looked at Rox, sighing. "Brother, a simp gets nothing in the end. Give up being a simp. You'll have everything you want in the future. Trust me on this." When I said that, I felt a golden aura radiating from my whole body. What is this, returning good for evil? This great compassion and mercy, this enlightenment. But Yen sure looked at me with the eyes of someone looking at an adorable little thing. Are you alright? Xia Xiao, I fell silent for a moment. I took one last look at the rock. I'm fine. But I'm afraid you'll get into trouble if you lick it. Then I ignored him. I turned and left decisively, leaving the rock dumbfounded on the spot. He even forgot why he came here. After a long while, he shouted at the direction I left. Crazy. I feel like I've done a good deed. In a good mood, I went to the small supermarket to buy some snacks. I'll find an excuse to give them to Luo Yanran later. Then, from afar, I saw Zhou Mianmian walking out of the supermarket. My steps faltered. Then I walked past him and into the supermarket. Zhou Mianmian had just opened her mouth to call out to me, but seeing me ignore him and walk inside, his face fell and he clenched the bread in his hand. Then he turned and went back into the supermarket. I naturally saw Zhou Mianmian following me, but I didn't say anything. Instead, I started choosing items from the shelves. 3 years. That's enough time for me to understand Luo Yanran's preferences, so I can shop very quickly. Zhou Mianmian behind me could naturally see that the snacks I bought weren't for him. He suddenly clearly understood that I really didn't want him anymore. He looked at me in a daze. I bought his most hated chocolate. He suddenly whispered, "You're not Xia Xiao." I froze. Frowning, I looked at him. What are you saying? My heart beat a little faster. Could Zhou Mianmian have figured it out? Surely not. Xia Xiao wouldn't treat me like this. You're not him. Zhou Mianmian's voice was full of grievance. I, on the other hand, felt relieved. So she was acting again. I looked at Zhou Mianmian in front of me. I didn't feel a thing. I just said, "Big sis, your grades aren't good to begin with. Watch less TV dramas and romance novels. The teacher told us to read more, not those trashy books." That one sentence directly made Zhou Mianmian's face turn green. The tears that were about to fall were immediately held back. "Xia Xiao, you glared at me, gritting your teeth. What's wrong with you? It's because I rejected you. Didn't we agree to talk about it after the college entrance examination?" I asked. It doesn't matter if I follow along. I suddenly had an epiphany. The way I looked at Zhou Mianmian was like looking at a stranger. You're right. Studies come first. Zhou Mianmian's eyes lit up. So it really was because of my rejection. He said softly, "Just know that I'm doing this for our future." He hadn't finished speaking when I interrupted him. Wait a second. Whose future are you thinking about? I don't know. Anyway, it's none of my business. Right now, I just want to study hard and do well on my exams. So, stop looking at me all the time. This is so awkward. Why don't you ask Yanshi? He'd definitely be happy to. What do you mean? Xia Xiao, you're just jealous, aren't you? Then I won't talk to Yanshi anymore. Don't ignore me. I've been so miserable all day. I've been crying all day. Zhou Mianmian reached out and grabbed my sleeve. Her voice was urgent. I wasn't going to pay him any attention. It's all your fault for upsetting me that night. And you didn't even take me home. So I just threw a little tantrum. I took a deep breath and pulled my sleeve back. Seriously, let me be frank. From now on, we're completely over. I said that with a somewhat sarcastic laugh. No, wait. We never really had a relationship to begin with. I looked at Zhou Mianmian coldly. Simply put, your personal ATM is walking away. I'm quitting. Got it? Zhou Mianmian couldn't help but take a step back. Her heart was beating fast. This Xia Xiao was so unfamiliar to her. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. Should she say something soft, like before? He opened his mouth. I didn't treat you like an ATM machine. His face was a little awkward. But you insisted that those things weren't gifts you wanted to give me. I didn't force you. Zhou Mianmian didn't understand what was wrong with me. How could you say something so cruel? Why would you paint yourself in such a bad light? He looked at me. For the sake of his already meager reputation. Every single word you said was voluntary, wasn't it? I looked at the girl before me. Who said she was doing this voluntarily? And I suddenly laughed. I was wrong before. You were my little sweetheart. So I don't want to anymore. Could you please give me some space? If you don't go back, I'll ask the teacher to change our seats. Don't always act like I've hurt you. Stop saying things that sound plausible but aren't true. Zhou Mianmian, I don't owe you anything. So what about those 2 or 3 years we had together? What does that amount of time even mean? Zhou Mianmian looked at me in disbelief. Consider it my bad luck. And then I'll stop caring what others think. I turned and went to the checkout counter. All day today. From this morning, Zhou Mianmian has been acting like she's in an idle drama. It's never ending. Naturally, I didn't plan to waste another minute on him. I have too many things I want to do. I didn't want to waste any time. After paying, I walked straight out of the convenience store. Zhou Mianmian remained where she was. She only remembered his sarcastic remark. Serves you right. Our almost 3-year relationship was reduced to that one phrase. He seemed to have reverted to his childhood self. The neighbors are gossiping. Even a girl is so unlucky. I heard her birth chart is bad, that she's unlucky. They say it was the toy they bought her that caused the accident. So unlucky, so unlucky. Bad luck. Grandma's slap across his face. A jinx. Meeting you is bad luck for our family. Why don't you just die? Zhou Mianmian surprisingly didn't want to cry anymore. He ignored the stares around him. He clutched the bread in his hand and walked out of the small supermarket. Xia Xiao was the first person to be so kind to him. He didn't want to let go of Xia Xiao. Before, he wanted everyone's affection. He wanted everyone to be kind to him. And in doing so, he ignored Xia Xiao. Now he sees clearly. Everyone put together is not as good as Xia Xiao. He will calm him down. After I left the small supermarket, I went to the review building. I glanced inside and found he wasn't in the classroom. But Luo was. Luo came out to me on his own initiative after seeing me. Who's the underclassman looking for? Looking for Ranran? Luo was startled before realizing. Ranran means Luo, right? He couldn't help but smile slightly. Did they become this close after just one trip out? He went to the restroom. But evening self-study is almost starting. Are you sure you want to wait? No, this is his. Please help me give it to him. I'm leaving now. Thank you, senior sister. Smiling, I handed the snacks to Lu. This way, I can give it to him in person. Am I afraid that Luoyanran won't accept it? Like this now. I guess Luoyanran will contact me soon. If I'm lucky, I might even get another dinner date. I know him too well. He's unwilling to take advantage of others at all. I left my things and ran. Luo looked at the snacks he was carrying. They really are all my best friend's favorite snacks. But he thought, my best friend's secret crush journey might be over. This younger student named Xia Xiao. If he doesn't like Luo, I'll wash my hair upside down. Luo Yanran rushed to class. And as she entered the classroom, she saw the bag on the desk at a glance. He frowned slightly. Others have secretly slipped snacks into his desk before. But not many people are so bold as to leave them on his desk. Besides, Luo is here. Why doesn't he stop them? He returned to his seat and whispered to ask what was going on. Luo glanced at him, offered a smile, and then handed him a sticky note was stuck on the bag. It says your junior said it's your snacks. Just ask your junior. Luo Yanran was a little confused. Then she seemed a little disbelieving. Lowering her voice, she almost whispered to Xia Xiao. Luo nodded. Also lowering her voice, she said, yeah, how many younger schoolmates do you have? Or, you don't want them, so I'll take them away? Sure enough, Luo's hand hadn't even touched the bag yet. Luo Yanran picked up the bag and directly stuffed it into her own desk. After I returned to the classroom, I went straight to the teacher's office. Then I talked to old Lin for a while. After explaining the seat change situation, Lao Lin was initially a little skeptical of what I said, but after much persuasion, Lao Lin finally agreed to let me change seats. So, when I went to evening self-study, I was in a good mood. You slipped me 890 kwai. She said it was the money from selling her necklace. After the supermarket, Zhou Mianmian finally calmed down and stopped being restless. At least she didn't glance at me once during the entire evening self-study. I didn't care either. My mind was still on Luo Yanran. Why hasn't she texted me yet? I didn't receive any messages until class ended. If I had asked her after class, shower first, don't leave yet, let's switch seats. Of course, Lu Xiaoping and Zhou Mianmian in front heard. Zhou Mianmian clenched her pen, but she tried hard to control herself from turning around or speaking. Lu Xiaoping didn't have so many concerns. She turned her head in surprise and asked, you want to change seats? This line is unclear and possibly contains a typo or error. A more accurate translation requires the original text to be reviewed. I'm stiff all over, watching you shower and change. Lin Yu was speechless. Then who should I switch desks with? I'm rushing home to help my grandma with her work. Hurry up. I see the rocks coming over here. Change seats. Aren't you supposed to keep me away from your goddess? Hurry up, are you changing or not? I nodded in Zhou Mianmian's direction. Yan Shu immediately said, change. Lu Xiaoping glanced at Zhou Mianmian. She found that he had already packed up his things. Quietly, she prepared to leave. Zhou Mianmian was actually heartbroken, but she didn't say anything. She put on her backpack and left. Yan Shu just slapped the table and didn't move it. You guys move and switch them. I have something to do. Such a good opportunity, I must seize it. Lin Yu muttered a curse under her breath. She was in such a rush to get home. She quickly changed seats. After changing seats, I went home with Lin Yu. We got home just before 10. Then my phone vibrated twice in a row. One was from Zhou Mianmian. It was a new friend request. One message was from Luo Yanyan. Without a moment's hesitation, I ignored Zhou Mianmian's friend request and opened Luo Yanyan's message. It said, dryly, thank you for the snacks. But it wasn't necessary. I don't really eat snacks. I chuckled. Then I replied, I thought Ranran would like it when I bought it. So, do you like it? Luo Yanran, at home on the other side, looked at the two characters, Ranran, as if my voice instantly rang in her ears. Her face turned red instantly. Hugging a pillow to my burning face, I rolled around on the bed. After a while, I picked up my phone and glanced at it, then tossed it aside. I felt this farewell was a little too abrupt. He was starting to overthink things again. No, I should go take a shower first. I've already eaten dinner over here. I went back to my room, but I still hadn't heard back from Luoyanran. I glanced at the message I'd sent. I shouldn't have said anything wrong, right? Maybe he doesn't like me calling him Ranran, but he said it was fine before. I sighed. I should just go take a shower first. When I came out, I saw a message from Luo Yen. It was okay, and then after 5 minutes, probably because I didn't reply, he asked, shall I transfer the money to you? I was drying my hair with one hand and typing with the other. I just typed no. But I hadn't finished typing it yet. Suddenly, a video popped up on the screen. I was startled for a moment. Then, without hesitation, I answered it. After connecting, I only saw a ceiling and a chandelier. And Luo Yenran's somewhat helpless voice. You dropped my phone. Then Luo Yenran looked at my face on the screen, and my bare, exposed shoulders. Luo Yenran's face rarely lost its composure. Her eyes were full of bewilderment. She was dazed, wondering why Xie Zhao's face would appear on his phone screen. And it seemed like he wasn't wearing any clothes. I couldn't help but laugh at his bewildered expression. I saw you call on video just now. I thought something was up, so I answered. Luo Yenran felt like she was about to burst. His fair face instantly flushed crimson. Then, I don't know what he was thinking. He didn't hang up the video call. Instead, he instinctively covered the camera. He covered the screen. Although it was just a flash, I still saw that he was wearing a cool, spaghetti strap sleep dress. It seemed like he wasn't wearing anything else but the sleep dress. I mentally gasped. I quickly stopped myself from imagining things. Then the phone beeped and the video call ended. I took a deep breath. I threw my phone onto the bed. I went back to the bathroom. When I came out again, my face was still a little red. I picked up my phone again and leaned back on the bed. Sure enough, Luo Yenran hadn't sent any more messages. A smile touched my eyes. I didn't mention the previous misunderstanding. I just continued from the previous sentence without replying. I hope we can have dinner together again next time. Don't worry about what just happened. Get some rest early. Good night. Then I didn't wait for a reply. Unless something unexpected happens, there won't be a reply tonight. Luo Yenran looked at the message I sent, and tossed the phone aside again. My face was still flushed. I reached out and rubbed Yin Jian, who was half asleep in my arms. The little pastry. It's all your fault. I'm definitely not sleeping tonight. This is so embarrassing. I actually hung up without saying a word. I'm not sleeping, and neither are you. It was a real accident just now. He waited a while but didn't get a reply from me. He was planning to send a red envelope. Then, at that moment, the pie came in. He pounced on it like a tiger. And Luo Yenyan's phone fell down. He probably didn't notice he'd accidentally pressed the video call button. And he certainly didn't expect me to answer. Luo Yenran saw the boy's face again before her eyes. He covered his burning face with his hand again. Then he buried his face in the pillow. It's over. I definitely can't sleep tonight. On the other hand, Zhou Mianmian waited in her room for a long time, but still hadn't received my friend request approval, even if he wrote classmates in the future. Let's add each other on social media. He seems so calm and collected. It looks like he's already let go. Actually, it's all his careful consideration. But the person who would consider his careful consideration this time seems to completely ignore him. A fleeting sadness crossed Zhou Mianmian's eyes. She looked at the message Yan Sure had sent 30 minutes late. Mianmian, I'll buy you breakfast tomorrow. What do you want to eat? He looked at it for a long time, then replied, anything is fine. Thank you, Yan Sure. Then she opened it. Another one asked him. The guy he was supposed to have dinner with tomorrow also replied with the same words. No more Xia Xiao. His life must go on. That's all he could do. At the same time, he felt a little relieved. It was a good thing he hadn't softened and accepted Xia Xiao back then. Otherwise, after being abandoned by Xia Xiao like this, he'd really have nothing left. In the following days, I suddenly felt the school was too big, because I hadn't even run into Luo Yen once. I even sent him a private message, inviting him to go feed the cats together, but Luo Yen said he wasn't free. Of course I can tell he's avoiding himself. Zhou Mian has been acting strangely these days. I wonder what he's thinking. He leaves a cup of milk tea on my desk every day. Then he doesn't say a word, doesn't leave a single note. It's like he does it while I'm not around, secretly placing it on my desk. The first day, I thought Lin Yu bought it for me. I opened it and drank it, but I only took one sip. I knew it was Zhou Mianmian who bought it, because I don't like drinking milk tea, and I don't drink 70% sugar, but I already drank it. I couldn't return it to her, could I? In the end, I went to the supermarket and exchanged it for 20 yuan in cash. I told Lin Yu to give the money to Zhou Mianmian, consider it payment for helping me buy that milk tea. Zhou Mianmian naturally didn't want to take it, but when he saw my half-drunk milk tea being thrown in the trash, he still chose to take the money from Lin Yu. I barely understood what he bought in the following days. Then, when he wasn't around, I casually put it on the desk. So, seeing the fruit tea again today, I'm a little troubled. What is Zhou Mianmian trying to do? I took the fruit tea and went to Zhou Mianmian, placed it on his desk. What are you trying to do? Don't buy me these things anymore. I don't like them, and it's unnecessary. Zhou Mianmian followed my long hand upwards. She saw my expressionless face. He forced a smile. I just wanted to do something for you, just like you once did for me. I silently watched him. His tone was strange. So, you thought what I did for you back then was just buying milk tea? Zhou Miannian shook her head in a bit of a panic. Of course not. You thought I only did a little? He lowered his head, somewhat embarrassed. But I don't have that much money. This is the only thing I can afford. If you don't like milk tea or juice, I'll buy you breakfast tomorrow, okay? I took a deep breath. Zhou Miannian, there's no need. I didn't expect you to repay me for what I've done before. You don't need to do all this. From now on, we're just ordinary classmates. Don't buy me anything anymore. You don't have much money anyway. Why waste it? Zhou Miannian's eyes lit up. She looked up at me. Her gaze held a touch more vulnerability. Do you still care about my business? I gave Zhou Miannian a speechless look. Don't do anything meaningless. I left after saying that. When I went out the door, I just happened to run into Yenshur coming back. He was carrying a cup of milk tea. Yenshur's expression wasn't good. Recently, for the past few days, Zhou Miannian has been sending me milk tea and juice every day. But quite a few people have noticed. His brothers even laughed at him behind his back, calling him the lowest of the low, a lickspittle. He's fawning over Zhou Miannian, but Zhou Miannian is fawning over Xiaoxiao. It makes him look incredibly pathetic. So he came to see me about it. He glared at me fiercely. I felt like I was really going to die. I simply ignored him and went out. Yenshur looked at me, so calm and collected. It made him angry. It was as if after Xiaoxiao stopped pursuing me, Zhou Miannian only paid attention to herself. Like this. It was as if she had picked up something Xiaoxiao didn't want. He glanced at the milk tea in his hand. Then he looked up at Zhou Miannian. Sure enough, there was an extra fruit tea on his table. That must be the one Xiaoxiao didn't want. Yenshur's face darkened as he walked over. He handed Zhou Miannian the milk tea he had bought. Miannian bought you milk tea. Zhou Miannian gave him a gentle smile. Thank you, Rox. Here's a fruit tea for you. When he said that, his smile was still gentle. Rox looked at his face, and his expression softened in return. But looking at the fruit tea, he still felt uneasy. He couldn't help but speak. Isn't this what you bought for Xiaoxiao? Zhou Miannian clearly froze for a moment. Then her expression dimmed. I'm sorry, she said. I don't have much allowance each month. I can't afford to buy another one. He offered a pale smile. He reached out and put the fruit tea aside. If you mind, then forget it. I'll buy you something tomorrow. Consider it thanks for the milk tea you bought me these past few days. His eyes were glistening as he said that. Yenshur instantly felt sympathy. He reached out and took the fruit tea. No need. This is fine. You haven't even touched it. Zhou Miannian seemed very happy. His eyes lit up. But then he hesitated. But I gave Xiaoxiao some earlier. It's okay, he didn't get to drink it. It's mine now. Yenshur's expression suddenly cleared after saying this. Xiaoxiao? What Xiaoxiao? The Xiaoxiao he didn't want hadn't even touched his lips before. There's still a chance. Zhou Miannian gave him a sweet smile. Yenshur, you're so kind. On the other hand, I went straight to the review building. It's Saturday today. They're resting tomorrow. I have to seize the opportunity and take a gamble with Luo Yanyan. Maybe I can even ask her out tomorrow. When I was downstairs, I took out my phone and sent Luo Yan a message. Are you in the classroom? I bought you some milk tea downstairs. I waited a while before getting a reply. I'm not in the classroom. You can drink it yourself. Where else could she be at this time of day, besides the classroom? I looked up at the teaching building. Suddenly, I remembered something. Are you watching the cat? I went over there. Wait for me. After saying that, I strode towards the side door. Sure enough, I saw Luo Yan ran at the place where I fed the cat last time. He sat under a large tree nearby. He watched the place where the wildcats had been. He was daydreaming. Hearing footsteps, Luo Yan turned to look. She saw me walking over with the milk tea. Then I naturally sat down in the shade beside him. Luo Yan had been feeling a little awkward, although many days had passed, but that day really made him so embarrassed. But seeing my natural demeanor, he suddenly wasn't embarrassed anymore. I handed him the milk tea, 3/4 sugar. The weather was still a little cool. I ordered a hot milk tea. Luo Yanran looked down at the milk tea. She still reached out and took it, saying thank you. Actually, I don't like milk tea. After saying that, Luo Yanran felt a little discouraged, but I don't seem to feel anything. Then I'll buy you fruit tea next time. No need. Luo Yanran glanced at me. I'll buy it myself if I want to drink it. But I want to buy it for you. I said it very calmly. So why aren't you happy? Luo Yanran paused. Looking away, she said, I'm not unhappy. Really? But if your back were in a comic, it would have a rain cloud above it. Saying this, I made a gesture, as if waving away something above his head. Go away, go away. Luo Yanyan couldn't help but laugh at my actions. Xiaoxiao, you're so childish. Seeing the smile on his face, I smiled too. It's okay to be childish. See? You're smiling now. For once, Luo Yanyan didn't dodge. She just looked at me. Xiaoxiao, why are you so good to me? The milk tea and snacks deliberately came over, and then they all laughed to themselves. This made it hard for Luo Yanran not to overthink things. Or is Xiaoxiao just that nice to everyone? I thought to myself. Finally, I have a chance to express my feelings. Just as I was about to speak, Luo Yanran softly said, actually, you comforted me once in my first year of high school, but you probably don't remember. I really have absolutely no memory of this. but looking at Luo Yanran smiling, it's clear he remembers it very well. I'm sorry, I don't seem to remember. My Adam's apple bobbed. My tone had a hint of apology. Luo Yanyan nodded, seemingly unsurprised. I knew you wouldn't remember. Then could you tell me about it? Maybe I'll remember if you mention it. But Luo Yanyan shook her head. No, she said. It's a little secret between me and Xia Xiao from my first year of high school. I can't tell you. A look of confusion crossed my face. But aren't we the same person? Luo Yanran smiled. Of course we're not the same person. Just now. Xia Xiao in his first year of high school hadn't fallen for Zhou Miannian yet. He would tell himself, why should I care what others think? When you're alive, there will always be people who dislike you. Senior, you're so dazzling. You should just let them be jealous and helpless. After all, you're the main character. They can only rage impotently. Why are you making yourself unhappy? It would be so much better to make them angry. Ah, the young man's tone is gentle and teasing. And comforting. My senior is really beautiful. You're the best. But in the end, that boy's gentle gaze rested on only one person. Unfortunately, that person wasn't him. I sighed. Fine. I never thought I'd be jealous of myself one day. Luo Yanran was originally poking at her bubble tea. Hearing that jealous remark, my movements froze, and I looked at him. What? Jealous? You think I'm jealous? Because my high school self could share little secrets with you. And you were so gentle when you talked about it. I'm a little envious. Luo Yanran heard her own heart racing. He hastily turned away from my gaze. Is that what Xia Xiao meant? He poked at it several times but couldn't open the seal. I saw his clear panic. I reached out and took the milk tea from his hand. Then I opened the seal and handed it back to him. You seemed a little flustered. Why not? Luo Yanran denied it without a second thought. My hands are just a little shaky. Didn't you ask me earlier why I wasn't happy? Because I bombed my mock exam. Luo Yanyan at this moment just wanted to avoid this topic that made her heart race. I paused for a moment. But I remember. Luo Yanyan's grades have always been excellent. I couldn't help but comfort him. It's just a mock exam. I didn't do very well either. You care so much about grades? Luo Yanyan smiled. It's senior year, you know. Who doesn't care about grades? And my mom cares a lot. He looked at me calmly. The most important thing is that I'm a repeater. Speaking of which, I'm curious why Luo Yanran decided to repeat a year. Her grades from the previous year weren't bad at all. And I remember. She was at least in the top 3 in the school. She even ranked in the top 10 in the province. But she repeated a year. Why? Why did you repeat a year? Thinking about this, I couldn't help but ask. Luo Yanran didn't seem surprised by the question. He took a sip of his milk tea. Many people have asked me, but I haven't told them. Do you want to know? He smiled at me as he said that. Then trade me your secret for it. After saying that, he stared at me silently. In the end, I looked away first. If you don't want to say it, then don't. I'm not forcing you. Luo Yanyan seemed a little surprised. How did you know I didn't want to speak in classical Chinese? I just smiled. Intuition. Your intuition is quite accurate. Luo Yanyan smiled. Then she glanced at her watch. Lunch break is almost over. Thank you for the milk tea. Then I watched him gently say, don't be unhappy. Your sad look makes this sunny weather feel irritating. Adding, that person was me. Luo Yanyan's heart fluttered. He seems certain Xia Xiao is flirting with him. It's not his imagination. Luo Yanran suddenly wants to ask, why would he suddenly talk about him? Clearly, in his eyes, before, everyone except Zhou Miannian seemed like an extra. How come he suddenly changed? But he's also too cowardly to speak up, even if I did it on a whim, to tease him. This unrequited love that seemed to have no end for so many years. Suddenly someone else opened that box. Although I was nervous and scared, I ultimately couldn't bring myself to close it. Luo Yanran. I always thought I was a very rational person, but only when it comes to my own affairs. I couldn't stay rational. Then the two of them, one after the other, walked down the school path without exchanging words. When we got downstairs, I finally remembered the main reason I came. Ran, will you go to the bookstore with me tomorrow? Luo Yanran, who was walking ahead, heard Ran, and his expression became unnatural again. He reached up and touched his ear. Then he turned towards the bookstore. Didn't you say you didn't do well on the mock exam? Me neither. So I'm planning to buy some practice workbooks, together, right? I said to him seriously, Luo Yanyan, although I feel their relationship isn't quite at the stage where they can go shopping together yet. The bookstore's condition. But honestly, I didn't really want to refuse. I saw his hesitation. I smiled and added, didn't you say you'd transfer me some money before? Forget the money. Let's go to the bookstore tomorrow at noon, and you treat me to lunch. Luo Yanran couldn't find any reason to refuse me. So he gave a non-committal then asked about the time and place. Send me the details on WeChat later. I'm going up now. I replied, okay. Go on up. Don't be unhappy. Luo Yanran didn't respond. She just glanced at me, then turned and went upstairs. Then I went back to the classroom right on time. After evening self-study, I showered and hurried home. He left without waiting for me. I packed up my things. I was still thinking about where I could go besides the bookstore and dinner tomorrow. Where else could I go? I looked up. I saw Yen-Shur diligently following Zhou Mianyan. He must have wanted to walk her home. But Zhou Mianyan smiled and refused. Her eyes accidentally met mine. Zhou Mianyan unconsciously tightened her book bag strap, as if afraid I'd misunderstand. She put a little distance between herself and the rock. She softly said, "No need to trouble you. I can go back by myself. See you next week," she added, then glanced at me again. But I found I'd already left. Zhou Mianyan felt a little disappointed. Then she smiled at the rock. She hurried out. Xiaoxiao seemed to be going home alone tonight. He was looking at me just now. For so many days. Has Xiaoxiao given up on me? Maybe he was waiting for him just now. But he saw the rocks and left on his own. I couldn't help but feel a little complicated. It's all his fault from the beginning. Zhou Mianyan looked at the young man's back ahead. Her eyes lit up. When I heard that familiar voice behind me, Xiaoxiao immediately quickened his pace. But then I heard running footsteps behind me. Zhou Mianyan's voice drew closer. "Xiaoxiao, wait for me. Let's go back together." His voice was light and cheerful. But I didn't slow my pace. "No, we're going in different directions." He heard my reply. Zhou Mianyan froze for a moment. So Xiaoxiao wasn't waiting for me just now? Then I'll take you home, and I'll go home after," Zhou Mianyan said softly. I abruptly stopped, sighing. "Zhou Mianyan, what exactly are you trying to do?" Zhou Mianyan tightened the straps of her backpack. This backpack was also a gift from me to him. Even the watch on his wrist. Even the phone he's using now. Zhou Mianyan only now realizes. Everywhere in his life is a reflection of me. I just want to be good to you. Just like you were to me before. So will you stop being angry sooner? I turned to look at Zhou Mianyan. I met his innocent, bewildered gaze. "Zhou Mianyan, are you really that clueless, or are you just pretending?" I suddenly woke up. I realized how ridiculous and deserving I was before. I looked at Zhou Mianyan. My eyes lacked their usual gentleness. "You're a girl. I've always tried to avoid being too harsh. So, you should just live your own life from now on. Don't do anything to me anymore." I shook my head, somewhat resigned and cynical. There wasn't much sincerity anyway. After saying that, I turned and walked away. "Xiaoxiao, how did you know I wasn't sincere with you? That's not fair. Maybe I overlooked you before. I did a lot of wrong things. But I can change." Zhou Mianyan shouted unwillingly. Her voice not quiet. Luo and Luo Yanran, not far away, also heard it. Then they stopped simultaneously. I saw him, walking out without the slightest pause. He was about to reach the school gate. Luo was speechless. They usually don't walk this way. But tonight, he wanted a stroll. So he invited Luo to walk this way. Damn it. I knew I shouldn't have taken this route. He glanced at Luo Yanran, who remained silent. But Xiaoxiao didn't seem to care much. He chuckled nervously. It seems they really had a falling out. Zhou Yanran didn't speak. She only glanced in the direction I had just left. By now, there was no one to be seen. When he turned to look at Zhou Mianyan behind him, I noticed another guy was with him. Have they really broken up? But Zhou Mianyan looked so sad just now. Why is she leaving with another guy now? Luo Yanran was a little confused. Luo also glanced at Zhou Mianyan. No wonder. I heard someone call Xiaoxiao a lickspittle before. This Zhou Mianyan seems to accept all her suitors without exception. Really? Weren't they a couple before? Luo Yanran didn't quite understand. I thought they were always very close. Come on, many people thought so. But Xiaoxiao denied it. And Zhou Mianyan denied it too. But before that, everyone thought it was only a matter of time before they got together. But Zhou Mianyan's behavior was, well, a bit much. Luo knew her best friend didn't pay attention to this gossip. So she spoke very seriously. Now looking at Xiaoxiao, I guess he also suddenly saw the other person clearly. That's good. Otherwise, I really feel sorry for Xiaoxiao. Luo Yanran nodded. He must have been very sad before. I rushed home excitedly, only to find out that my mother was working overtime today, and Lao Xie was already asleep. He didn't even leave any food for me. So after I went into my room, I opened my food delivery app. I looked around. I didn't see anything I wanted to eat. Finally, I just posted a moment on WeChat. I'm so hungry at midnight I could eat a whole cow. It's just that I don't have a cow at home. Linyu is always the first to like my posts. She even left a comment asking me to come over. But I didn't want to go out. I just replied with a, meaning supplement/add-on. Just as I was seriously browsing takeout menus, a message popped up. What do you want to eat? It was from Luo Yanran. I instantly got excited. Then I clicked in and thought for a moment. First, I sent a pitiful emoticon. Then I added a line. I can't find anything I want to eat. Then they made a WeChat video call. I was a little surprised. Then I quickly answered, I'm outside right now. Not far from your house. There's a street food market here. What do you want to eat? Hearing that, I frowned. It's so late, you're out? Luo said he wanted to eat something before going home. Just the two of you girls? Where are you? I stood up and glanced at the time. It's already 10:30. So late. I'm really not comfortable with you two girls being out so late. At the night market in Shishir. I can get you takeout later. Luo Yanran repeated, no need. I was just about to go out for a late night snack anyway. Wait for me. Luo Yanran paused. Wasn't he just refusing a shower on his moments? Why is he coming out now? I've already grabbed my things, changed my shoes, and am heading out. It's about a 10-minute walk from here, 2 stops. I'll go over now. Luo Yanran gave a non-committal "oh." Then she didn't know what to say. Finally he said, then come over and eat by yourself. Wait, don't hang up. I quickly said. I quickly stopped him. Tell me, what are some good things to eat over there? I haven't eaten yet. I ran to the bus stop. Luo Yanran glanced at the seemingly endless street food stalls. She frowned slightly. Hesitation crept into her voice. But there's so much food here. Why don't you come and see for yourself? Then she thought that saying that. Does it sound a little cold? Adding that one sentence really made it sound like a lot. I smiled and replied, I know. Actually, I just didn't want you to hang up. This is the first time you've called me. My words were a little disjointed. They reached Luo Yanran's ears. It must have been because of the bad network connection. But Luo Yanran still heard him. He felt his ears burning up. Seeing Luo approaching him, he said in a fluster, the signal's bad here. He hung up quickly. Call duration, 6 minutes and 18 seconds. So those few words took over 6 minutes? Luo walked over. I saw Luo Yanyan's face turn bright red. Why are you so red? It's too hot, but the weather is still cold. Luo Yanyan secretly put away her phone. She looked up at him. It's a bit hot. Luo looked at her, feeling something was wrong. He glanced at her phone in her hand. Who were you just chatting with? She looked so smitten. Junior. She said that, then gave Luo Yan a few flirtatious glances. Luo Yan isn't used to lying. So, she changed the subject. What else do you want to eat? I already bought some. Stinky tofu. This place has the best. Try some. Luo Yanran remembered that I said I was coming. She couldn't help but take a step back. I won't eat it. I wonder if Xia Xiao will be able to accept this flavor. What if he can't? About 7 or 8 minutes passed. I stood in front of Lin Yoga's snack stall. It said colorful glutinous rice balls on the sign. Luo Yanran and Luo. He was sitting at the small table in the back. Lin Yu looked at me speechless. Didn't you say you weren't coming out? The old woman beside him reached out to hit him. How can you talk to Xiao Xiao like that? Then she looked at me and smiled kindly. Xiao Xiao is hungry, huh? Grandma will make you a rice ball. Go sit in the back. I said with a smile, thank you, Grandma. Do you need any help? The old lady waved her hand. No, you don't need to. Just sit there if you want. I don't intend to cause any trouble. I quietly went to the back. Then I very consciously sat down at Luo Yan's table. Their table. Luo greeted me with a smile, Junior. What a coincidence. Luo Yan glanced at me. She nodded in greeting. I smiled and said, it's not a coincidence. I knew you were here before I came. My frankness left Luo speechless for a moment. His gaze shifted between the two of us. So, Luo blushed just now while chatting on WeChat, because of you. I'm not blushing. It's just too hot. Luo Yanran directly denied it. But her tone was a little extreme, making it hard to believe. I smiled at him and asked, you're blushing? I didn't say anything either. Luo got excited. Our Luo is the type who blushes easily when teased. He has a fiery personality. Don't let his perpetually expressionless face fool you. He seems aloof, but he's actually quite adorable and silly. Super cute, Luo Yanran said this and reached out to cover his mouth. But the table and chairs aren't very big. He stood up suddenly, and the table wobbled. I steadied myself with one hand on the table. With the other, I reached behind him to prevent him from falling. Be careful. Luo Yanyan felt a little childish. In the end, she still sat down, blushing. She just didn't dare to look me in the eye. Fortunately, I didn't continue the topic. Lin Yu quickly brought over 3 rice balls, and 3 drinks. Luo gasped. We didn't order this much. My grandma sent it. She said it's from Zhao's friend. No extra charge. Luo smiled, a little surprised. Thank you. I glanced at the busy little stall. Lin Yu smiled and nodded. Enjoy your meal. Don't call me. I'm going to get busy. I looked away, but I saw 2 girls' eyes were fixed on them. The one showering is my classmate. He only lives with his grandmother. The 2 girls looked away. Luo Yanran said, you guys seem to always eat lunch together. You're paying so much attention to me. I replied with a smile. Meanwhile, Luo took a couple of bites of the sticky rice, and slowly said, I feel a little superfluous, huh? Maybe I should leave. Luo Yanran's tone became a little urgent. Finally, Luo smiled and said nothing. Glutinous rice is very filling, even a small amount, especially theirs, were particularly large. The 2 girls probably couldn't finish them in the end, but after glancing at the old woman, they still forced themselves to finish the rest. I was a little surprised to see them eat everything. Actually, if you can't finish it, you can feed it to stray dogs. Grandma prepared this especially for us. That's disrespectful. Luo Yanran said seriously. I looked at her and nodded gently. Thank you for keeping me. I already ate. I even forced myself to finish the sticky rice. I stood up, feeling uncomfortably full. I can't go on. I'm going home first. My house is just up ahead. It's a 5-minute walk. She looked at me and said with a smile, Junior, Help me take Luo home. Luo Yanyan spoke up. No need. I can go back myself. But I only came out to walk you home.